everyone. Once again, welcome. My name is David Beidleman. I'm Vice President for Institutional Advancement here at the college, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to the Bowers Portrait Unveiling. It's also my pleasure to introduce you to President Cecelia McCormick, and I know most of you know her, but there are a few who don't, so bear with me, I'll share a few highlights of her stellar career. She became the 15th president of Elizabethtown College on July 1, 2019. Before her presidency, Cecelia successfully led and held various senior leadership positions in education, including Vice Provost for Academic Strategy and Special Programs, Chief of Staff for the Office of Academic Affairs, and Associate Provost for Strategic and Academic Initiatives at Thomas Jefferson University. She also served as Chief of Staff to the Senior Vice President for Finance and Administration and Chief Operating Officer at Johns Hopkins University. President McCormick earned her Juris Doctorate from Delaware Law School of Widener University and a postdoctorate certificate from Harvard University. She is a true champion of our students, their growth and their development. The college and our community have been inspired by her dedication, her leadership, and her tireless hard work. Cecelia and her husband, John, reside in Elizabethtown. She is the mother of 3 sons and 2 grandchildren, with one on the way, I understand. Please join me in welcoming President McCormick.
Well, that was probably more than you needed to know, but I thank David for those kind remarks and introduction. So it's really great to see everyone this afternoon. And this is such a wonderful occasion, and I want to welcome and pay tribute, of course, to Ken and Rosalie. It was just a few months ago when we dedicated this building, and when I tell you it is in great use, I mean it. I wanted to make sure I checked the statistics for you, and our students, 97% of them are here on a regular basis. They all come here to work out. And we're up to a total of 50% of our staff and faculty who are also using the wellness facilities. Last week we had a great time here on the campus. I had my coffee and conversation hour. Instead, we had smoothie and exercise hour. And we brought everybody down because I thought maybe our faculty and staff were a little daunted by all the amazing equipment that's in here. So we all came together, and it was really a great chance for community as well as learning. And today I put our Board of Trustees on a wellness plan because I had them walk all over the campus to go to their meetings and ultimately end up here. So anyway, it's really been great. Our college wellness team works here. We have so many people offering such great programming. Last night we had a chili and soup demonstration in the kitchen to learn how to do it from scratch. And so our students came for that. So once again, thank you, Ken and Rosalie, for your generous donation. As many of you know, we have placed plaques all throughout the building to recognize our donors. We will be doing that today, but in a very unique way, because this is a very special plaque we'll be adding. And it's a picture of the 2 of them, and I told them it's important for them and our students. They need to see your faces. And they need to smile at you, and they need to know what you did for them. So it's very exciting to me. And I'm certainly thrilled that all of you came out to be a part of this afternoon. And now I'm going to give it back to David because we want to make sure we say something special about Kent on the occasion.
Thank you. Thank you, Cecelia. Her bright words, her energy, her esprit, clearly endearing, stellar in her work ethic, and first in class as our brilliant leader. Thank you for making such a difference, Cecelia. You are an inspiration. Ken, Rosalie, what can I say? You're the best. It's been such a pleasure along the way to know you and be a part of the whole engagement of you over the short period of time that I've been with the college compared to the many years that you've been with Elizabethtown College. How wonderful for this dedication to this unveiling to take place now. But of course, it wouldn't have been possible at all if it weren't for this gentleman right here. Everyone has had a chance perhaps over the years to get to know Kent. It's my pleasure to introduce him from the great class of 1959. A few months back, Kent shared his thoughtful idea, his vision for the creation of this unique work of art. Not only does Kent have great ideas, but he has a remarkable ability to see them through. So it didn't take him long to complete the fundraising. He had such a noble cause, honoring the Bowers. It was such a worthy purpose, and of course, it's really, really hard to say no to Kent. His passion just comes through 110%. His bright energy is catchy, and he couldn't have been more pleased to work on this project for two of his best lifelong friends. Thank you, Kent, for going the distance and for helping us to lift up and honor Ken and Rosalie Bowers with this lasting legacy portrait. Please join me in welcoming Kent to say a few words.
Thank you, David. President McCormick, members of the Board of Directors, Ken and Rosalie, and fellow donors. This is not part of my plan, but you noticed I was only introduced as Kent. Replogle is difficult to say. I didn't know that. At 17 years old, I grew up in Blair County in a small town of less than 2,800 people. There was Replogle's coffee shop run by my parents. Down the street was the Atlantic gas station run by D. Claire Replogle. The superintendent of schools was George P. Replogle. And in northern Bedford County, there was a high school called Replogle High School. So Replogle was kind of easy to get to. However, in my first class here with Professor Stump in Psychology 101, and he's calling the roll for the first class. And Bowers is at the top of the alphabet. He gets called up, no problem. He keeps going down the alphabet. Right ahead of me is Larry Reber. Well, Larry Reber, that's pretty easy. And then he comes to the next guy, Mr. Replogle. Mr. Replogle, if you're trying to say Replogle, I'm here. So that's my story about Replogle. Before I have some other remarks, I want to say thank you to some people who helped me get here today. First and foremost, to my fellow donors. You made this day possible. Without your enthusiasm for this project and your financial support, this day could not have happened. It would have been nothing but my pipe dream. But you joined together to make it a reality, and I simply can't thank you enough. To Catherine Prescott, not only a very skilled artist, but also a delightful person and one on whom I relied a great deal for guidance in this project. And to her husband, Ted, as well, an accomplished sculptor who was invaluable in the final stages of this project. And I didn't discount it at all because they're associated with Messiah. Events like this don't just happen. There's a myriad of details that must be thought of and then acted upon to have a successful event. And no one does it better than Caroline Levani. She coordinates the special events here at the college. She was very important in guiding and directing all those details for the luncheon that we just concluded and for this unveiling ceremony. And my thanks to one more person, Lori Thompson, who, among other things, is responsible for the information displayed on the plaques around the campus. She ensured that everything on our donor plaque was exactly the way we wanted it to be, while being sure that it was compatible with the other displays in this building. Again, thank you all for your help. In September of 1955, it was kind of unfathomable that January 2020 even existed. Just as unfathomable was how some 17 and 18-year-olds standing in front of Alpha Hall, wearing a dink, learning the alma mater, could begin to understand the impact of Elizabethtown College and its motto, Educate for Service, would have on their and our lives. Ken Bowers and Kent Replogle met each other then. created a bond that has lasted for more than 64 years. From being in each other's wedding in 1960, to visits in each other's homes, sharing career growth, to retiring in the same community, this marvelous friendship and bond of esteem for each other is what has led us here today. I'm sure that, like all of you, I felt a truly deep sense of admiration and understanding of the place that E-Town occupies in Ken and Rosalie's life when the announcement of their gift for the construction of the Bowers Center was made. As I continued to marvel about their incredible generosity, I felt that beyond their name on the outside of the building or on the donor wall down in the lobby below, I wanted to find a way to express my love, respect, and admiration for them. And I wanted to do it in an additional way. My thought was that an oil painting of Ken and Rosalie that would be displayed in a place of prominence and importance in the building could achieve that goal. To me, it was something that would last as long as the building and perhaps even beyond. Through a painting, those of us here today and many, many future generations will be able to understand and celebrate their legacy. No doubt what they've done will be an inspiration for future alumni to find their way to help to move the college forward. Of course, for a painting to be done and hung in the building, it would take the approval of both the college and the Bowers. So I made an appointment to see David Beidleman. On behalf of the college, he was very enthusiastic in his support. He was even more pleased when I told him that I'd raised the funds necessary for the project. Now it was time to get Ken and Rosalie to agree. As you all would expect, after I presented the idea and my rationale, they said they'd like to think about it. A few days later, Ken called me and said they would agree, quote, so long as others wouldn't think this was an ego trip by Elle and me, close quote. I told him that anyone who knows them knows that that would be the furthest thing from their mind. My suggestion to Ken and Rosalie was that I wanted the portrait to be given to the college by a group of donors who were close friends and or colleagues of theirs. So together, we developed a list that shared my feelings of respect and admiration for them. At the top of that list was the group that became known as the Gang of 59. In addition to Ken and Rosalie, it's Terry Bush and Elizabeth, Jerry Garland and Doris, Jack Hedrick and Doris, Kent Replogle and Gail, and Don Bevo Sloniker and Carol. For 60 years, this group has known each other. They've worked together, played together, and stayed together over those years. They were and are committed to each other and to Elizabethtown College. Sadly, we have lost 4 members of the gang, Terry Bush, Jack Hedrick, and our 2 Dorises, Doris Garland and Doris Hedrick. The rest of the members of the gang are here today, and I immediately got their full support for the project. I need to mention that Joe and Bob Hedrick, Jack and Doris's sons, who we all watched grow up, wanted to be sure that their family was represented among the donors. For those of you that I didn't know personally, I had prepared my talking points. I wanted to get you on the phone, and when you understood what I was calling, even before I could finish, you said, I'm in. I'm in. I'm certain that was because of Ken and Rosalie. Each of you contributed with enthusiasm, and I shall be ever grateful to you for being a part of this celebration. Once the idea had taken shape, I needed to find an artist. I did a lot of research into finding a portrait artist with the credentials and portfolio worthy of taking on this commission. As I narrowed the candidates, I looked at their work on their website, and moving quickly to the top of my list was an artist from Mechanicsburg whose portrait portfolio included the official portrait of Governor Tom Corbett that's hanging in the governor's office in the state capitol building. She was local, and I figured if she could do a governor, she was probably good enough to do some folks who to me are much more important than a governor. Seriously, after interviewing her and learned how she works, I felt very fortunate to find Catherine Prescott. I had no doubt that she could and would present us with a painting of the Bowers that not only shows their likeness, but also shows the depth of relationship they share with each other and their warmth as genuine, caring people. It has taken more than 9 months to get this project to the finish line, but we have finally arrived. So, Catherine, if you will join me, please. So on behalf of the Friends of the Elizabethtown of Ken and Rosalie Bowers, I would like to present this painting to Elizabethtown College. And now I'd like to call on Bob Dolan to come forward and accept the painting on behalf of the college.
Thank you, Kent. Thank you, Kent. Appreciate that. Thanks to all of you, all of the donors. This building obviously is a tribute to the love and dedication that Kent and Rosalie have for our college. This building will be here for generations to come, used by students for many, many years to come, and will be a keystone of our campus for a long time. We're very pleased to accept the picture here today. Your generosity is a living testament to our Educate for Service Award. Came here part of that class of '59. You learned about education for service. You spent your life in service. Thank you for bringing it back and giving back to our student body. We all appreciate it. And I do need to tell one little anecdote. I know this has been difficult for you to put a picture here. I know how you struggle with that. We've had the talk, and I understand. But it is so important, as Cecelia mentioned, it is so important to our student body to understand how a couple's lifetime devotion to the college is returned in actions like this. At the dedication, I was speaking with the young lady who was working at the front desk, and I mentioned that we were going to put a portrait here that was in the works. She immediately said, "That's wonderful. I've been wondering about these people. Who are they? Why do they do this?" Okay? And it's so important to our students to understand that, so that when the next generation, there's somebody out there now who's meeting each other this year on campus. They're going to be together for 60 years, and hopefully they're going to have that same love and dedication that you two have exhibited. You're fantastic role models to me, to others, to many in the community. So thank you very much for what you've done, what you continue to do, and know that nobody views this as something that, what did you call it, an ego trip in any way. This is a message to the student body about a love of an institution, which is important to all of us. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Bob. To the donors, your participation to the success of this project is going to be shown on this plaque, which will be mounted next to the painting. So we're glad to have that. Now, this event cannot conclude without hearing from our honorees. To me, he is known as Bows, Ken, Kenny, and even occasionally Kenneth. And she has been known to me as Elle for more years than either of us want to remember. And I'm, to them, just Rep. To all of us, they are dear, dear friends who have more than earned our deepest respect, admiration, and love. I'm confident that this portrait will add significantly to your legacy. You have enhanced, inspired, and led Elizabethtown College with your gifts of time, talent, and treasure. Because of you and who you are and how you've led your lives, you've enhanced the lives of those who are gathered here today. We would all be much poorer if you weren't a part of us. Kenny and Rosalie, please come on.
Thank you. On October 15th of last year, when this building was dedicated, we emphasized the special meaning that Elizabethtown College has had for us over many years. Today, our emphasis is going to be on appreciation. We are just so honored to have this painting put here, painting by Kathleen Prescott. And I had seen earlier versions of it, but it's even better now than when I saw the earlier versions. She did a great job. And I want to also thank, first and foremost, Rep for putting together this occasion. And Rep, after I asked him about some nice things I might be able to say about him because we're so appreciative of what he's done, he said, "This is about you, not me." Well, I won't go into much there other than to say that Rep had one very impressive, how should I put it? Just his whole career has been an impressive career, but especially his time in television production, he was president and vice president of various TV stations, and I don't mean small town ones. I'm talking about New York City, I'm talking about Washington, D.C., I'm talking about Kansas City, Missouri, Greenville, South Carolina. The guy really had an active career that was also a very impressive career. But back to the painting. I'll let it go at that, Rep. I promised I wouldn't overdo it. And believe me, I didn't overdo it. We'd like it. We like it very much, by the way. And we are very impressed that it also has a plaque with it identifying the people who helped make it possible. You. And so, in short, we are positively overwhelmed by the honors you have given us. For now, at least, all we can say in capital letters is thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
That concludes our program for the day. My thanks again to everybody who contributed to make this event happen. For the donors, I have a small token of my appreciation for your support. There is an envelope with your name on it at the bottom of the steps. At the information counter. Dawn Bracken, one of the staff of the college, is there. Please make sure, donors, that you ask for your envelope as you exit the building, and be sure when you look at it to look at both sides. Thank you, everyone. Safe travels. Thank you.